Now we don't have to mute out the bevies because it's coffee.
Yeah, true. Hi guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
My name is Kathy.
My name is Celeste, and today Kathy is going to be telling me a very spooky paranormal story.
Mm-hmm. I am, and I'm kind of really excited to tell you guys about this one.
Yay!
So this story was actually suggested by one of our viewers, and I won't say your name because I don't know if you want me to, but you're absolutely gorgeous. And after I tell the story, I'll tell you who it was.
Okay.
All right. So, have you ever heard about the Watcher House?
No, but now I know which subscriber you're talking about.
Okay, now you know. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't know anything about this.
Okay, good. Let's jump right into it. Oh, let me start with the sources. So first, I used the Generation Y podcast. I really like this podcast. They did a great job telling the story. I enjoyed it more than any other podcast. And then I also used an article.
You've ever listened to?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I used an article by The Cut. It was published in 2018, and I don't know if you really need to know that, but the...
It's good to know.
Yeah. The guy who wrote it, his name is Reeves Weidman. So yeah, The story begins in Westfield, New Jersey.
Okay.
And it starts in New Jersey. No, but neither of us, we're not going to do that. Okay?
Okay.
And so yeah, the story starts in June of 2014. Derek and Maria Broaddus, they're married. Heterosexual couple. and they have children. And they buy this house.
How many children?
I think like 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they buy what they refer to as their dream home. It has 6 bedrooms. It's actually in the same neighborhood where Maria grew up. So It's really nice. I was looking at the Google Maps of this area, and it's just like big houses, lots of greenery, very suburban, just like cute vibes, you know.
Ooh.
It was basically something that they had been working up to for a long time. The house that they had before was nice, but it wasn't nearly as nice as this one. Like, this was like the dream home, you know? They actually purchased it for $1.3 million. Yeah, pretty penny. Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's pretty big.
Yeah, here's a picture of it, actually. It's gorgeous.
That's a beautiful house.
Yeah. It has 3,920 square feet and then a half-acre lot. So it's it's pretty big. Yeah. Dang. And they ended up spending about $100,000 just in renovations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they bought it right before Derek's 40th birthday. And so it was kind of like a cute birthday present. He gets to buy this house and make it all nice for him and his family to move in. So it's like really nice, right? Mm-hmm. And they purchased this house from John and Andrea Woods. And that was a couple that lived there for the last 20 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
And multiple people were interested in buying this house at the same time that Derek and Maria were. But one of the potential buyers, they ended up getting some unfortunate medical news, and so they had to opt out of buying the house.
Oh.
And then the other person ended up finding a house that suited them a little bit better. So it really felt to them like this was meant to be. Like everything was kind of just like lining up in their favor, you know? So that was pretty cool. This feeling did not last long at all.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hate to break it to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because they wanted to renovate the home, they didn't move in right away. They still stayed at their old house. They had plenty of contractors and, you know, people coming in to do the work, but they would also be there working as well. And also just like keeping an eye on the progress and everything like that. And then on June 5th, Derek had been working at the house and he decided to go check the mail. And it was, you know, typical mail. It was like bills, boring stuff, you know. And then there was an envelope that stood out. And it was a white envelope, and on the front of the white envelope, it had big letters written on it that said the new owner. And inside was a typewritten letter.
Oh, no.
Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, my God. Yes, I'm ready.
You're ready, okay. So it says, Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched it in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. I see already that you have flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy. You have children. I have seen them. So far,
no.
yeah. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. I asked the woods to bring me young blood, and it looks like they listened to me.
What the frick?
Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one.
Ew.
Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin. Signed, The Watcher.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine? You just bought this dream, beautiful home in the neighborhood your wife grew up in. You're gonna raise your children, spending so much money on contractors and renovations, and then you get this creepy letter about some guy watching your children?
Oh, I don't really know how it goes when you buy a house, but, like, it's probably not easy to just be like, never mind.
Yeah, it's like you signed the papers.
Oh.
It's yours now. And Derek was alone when he read this letter because he had been working at the house for a while. It was around 10 p.m. He was out by the mailbox reading this. Can you imagine?
No.
That's so creepy.
So scary. I would be like, all right, well, it's been nice.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just keep the house and move somewhere else.
So he reads the letter and he goes inside and he turns off all the lights in the house because he's like, if this freak is watching me, I don't want him or her or them to know like where I'm at in the house. So he goes in, turns off all the lights, and the next thing he does is he calls the cops. And shortly after, an officer shows up and Derek hands him the letter and the cop says verbatim, "What the
Same.
Same girl. And the officer asks him, do you have any enemies or anybody that just kind of has a problem with you? And Derek explains that he literally just bought the house. He hasn't even moved in yet, so he hasn't had the chance to make any enemies.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to have reported it just in case anything happens. There's a paper trail that starts to be formed, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
With stalker cases, it's one of the things that scares me the most, so...
Same.
Yeah.
And you don't know what this person's capable of. He's literally talking about your children and how he asked from the forest to bring him young blood. So yeah, I think it's really important that he reported it to the cops. That's so creepy.
Absolutely. After that, like after he calls the cops and everything, Derek decides that he has to tell Andrea, his wife, what happened, you know. Derek probably felt like, damn, I don't want to scare my wife.
I thought her name was Maria.
Or what did I say?
Andrea?
Oh yeah, Maria. Her name is Maria.
Oh, okay.
Andrea is the woman that lived there before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he probably didn't want to tell his wife because here they were buying their dream house and now he has to tell her, oh, some creep has been watching us and our children.
Yeah.
You know? But he ends up telling her, which I think is smart.
Yeah.
And together they decide the next day that they're gonna write to the Woods, the previous owners. And so they email them and they're like, did you get any creepy letters, you know?
Yeah.
And the next morning, actually, Andrea replies via email and she tells them that she also got a letter right before they moved out. Just one. Like, literally days before they moved out.
Oh.
They received the letter on May 24th, 2014. And the letter, it said something like, thank you for watching the house, and you know, I've been observing you guys. It seems like you really took good care of the house or something like that. And they didn't really think much of it because prior to this, they had never gotten a creepy letter or anything like that. And without the context of the creepy letter that Derek and Maria just got, you wouldn't really think much of it. You would be like, oh, okay, that's a little weird, but I guess they appreciated that I took care of this beautiful home to keep up like the neighborhood aesthetic, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be easy to write it off as like whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was a really quiet neighborhood too. The Woods, the previous owners, they said that they always felt safe in this house, that sometimes they wouldn't even lock the door because it just felt so safe, you know? So they never had any reason to be sketched out.
Oh, that's worrisome because then it's like, who is this person and what if they were in their house?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
But yeah, so at this point, Derek and Maria are like, that's weird, but they're still moving forward with it. They have all these contractors already working on the house and everything, so they're like, let's just keep going with it, you know?
Yeah.
And so they do. And then it was a few days after, some neighbors stopped by and they started up a conversation with Derek and Maria, and they were getting to know each other. And Derek and Maria decided to give them a tour of the house, just to show them all the renovations and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit peculiar to do that shortly after receiving such a creepy letter, because it's like, you don't know who this freak is. You can't just trust your neighbors. Like,
no.
maybe that's just like my own perspective, you know, because I love true crime and I just think the worst of everything always to keep me safe.
Yeah.
But that's certainly not something I would do.
Yeah. The only way I think that I might do that is if the neighbors came over and they were super, super, super nice, you know?
Yeah.
And they were just like,
I know you would, and then I would be like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very trusting.
Yeah, she is.
I'm a bit naive.
Yeah. But that's why I'm here, to be like the big bad guard dog.
Yeah, to protect.
Yeah. But yeah, so they give them a tour and, you know, they're walking around, stinking around. And one of the neighbors says, quote, that they showed the house to, they were like, it will be good to have some young blood in the neighborhood.
What?
Which is a phrase that the Watcher used a lot in the letters. And so, I don't know if it's like a New Jersey thing to say, like...
Letters?
Huh?
He sent... Oh.
Yeah.
Because he sent the 2 letters.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and you'll see. But yeah, I don't know if they just say that in New Jersey for funsies or what, but I'm like, that is a little weird for you to say, but all right.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So that happens, and then nothing really comes out of it. A few days later, Maria goes to check the mail, and can you guess what's there? Another letter. Another letter. So let me read to you guys the second letter.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have you found what is in the walls yet? In time they will. I am pleased to know your names now and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names often. And the letter asked specifically about one of their kids that the Watcher had seen painting with an easel on the front porch. So this is what they're referencing. Is she the artist of the family? 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there? I would be afraid if I were them. Is it far away from the rest of the house? If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic? Or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who's in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher and have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now.
Oh my God.
The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too, Broaddus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know I will be watching.
That is so creepy.
I know, dude.
I would cry.
I would cry. I really would cry.
I really would cry. I was like thinking when you were reading that, I was thinking if I received that letter, what I would do. And I was like, I think I would just cry.
Yeah, same.
Because that's scary.
Yeah. So I'm listening to the Generation Y podcast talk about this, and they read the letter, and then after that they had some really great points. Who is this person? You know, is it a bitter potential buyer that didn't get the house? Was it someone that wanted the house but couldn't afford it and they're just jealous?
Yeah.
And maybe they're trying to scare the family away so that they don't go through with the sale so that they can come in and get it at a cheaper price or something. Like, I don't know, but it kind of seems like that to me.
Yeah, maybe it could be the person who had some kind of hospital accident or whatever.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Maybe they're bitter because they're like, I was gonna buy it and now they can't because they went to the hospital or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and also it's not that hard to stalk someone. They also made that point, you know?
Yeah.
And especially right now in this day and age, like this happened in 2014, so the internet was the thing. You can search on a website if it's already been bought. It's so easy to find people's information online. Or you could literally just walk up to the house, open up their mailbox and look at their mail, you know? Like it's not
true.
hard to unfortunately stalk people these days, which is really creepy.
That's
and
creepy.
you know, it's like maybe the watcher was somebody that had a secret watching spot that watched the house, or it was somebody that walked by a lot, like with their dog or something, so it wasn't super, so it
like
wouldn't
obvious.
make you think twice.
Yeah. Ooh.
So definitely I would
Move.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like at that point.
Yeah, it's like
Come
at that
on.
point, come on.
I mean, you're right. At the end of the day, we don't know how we would react to that, but that's just so creepy. One letter is one too many.
Exactly.
2 is pushing it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Back to the letter. This time, the watcher had addressed Derek and Maria directly, and the watcher misspelled their last name. They spelled it Braddus, and it's spelled with an O.
What the heck?
Yeah, so that kind of makes you think, is the watcher just close enough to hear the conversations? Like, people would be like, oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Broadus, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And not knowing how to spell it. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. The watcher was close enough to hear conversations, and so that's how they know things. And in the letter, also, the letter identified the Broadus' 3 kids by birth order and the nicknames that Maria would call to them, because the kids would be like outside playing and stuff. So the letter referenced each kid by how old they were and by the nickname that Maria had for them.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so they probably were close enough to hear.
Yeah,
whoever
to
it
hear
was.
that. It doesn't sound to me like Maria was like, Jamie! You know? Like,
Yeah.
she was probably just like, hey! Twinkle bum, get in
Yeah,
here, like,
yeah.
you know, not like screaming at the top of her lungs.
Ew, that's so creepy.
Yeah, so you had to be nearby.
like close.
Yeah. Yeah, so at this point, they got 2 really creepy letters. They're really hesitant to move forward with moving in, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
And Jen Y also made a really good point that cops don't really do much when it comes to stalker cases. And so one of the
Yeah.
hosts was like, I would try to egg this person on, whoever this watcher is, not to be like a big old bad boy, you know, like
Yeah.
scary tough guy, but more so that something happens so then the cops can get involved so something can be done kind of thing. I don't know if I would go that route, but that makes sense to me that somebody would, you know?
Yeah, I think it definitely would depend on the person, maybe.
I think so too. From my perspective of someone that doesn't have human children, I truly just don't know how I would react in this situation, so it's really hard to say, you know?
Yeah.
Also, the letter implied that there was something in the walls.
Ew.
And so Derek and Maria brought in an inspector to come in and look at the house, and they had him walk everywhere, look at everything, and he didn't find anything except a lack of insulation. And that is so creepy, because what was this watcher trying to insinuate? That because there was no insulation, that there was something hidden in the walls or something, you know, like a dead body or a weird cult thing. Your imagination can kind of run wild at that point.
Oh my gosh, for real. I wonder if when they were doing renovations, if one of like the construction people found something weird and they were like, let's just throw this away. Like, they don't need to know about that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because it's like, maybe to be nice, because maybe
To
they
not
found...
scare them.
Yeah, and they're like, they're just moving in. They're hella happy to be here. Let's not, like, ruin it for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Hadn't considered that. So, yeah, on July 28, 2014, they get another letter.
No!
Yeah. These poor people can't catch a break.
Oh.
So the letter says, where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard is missing you. The house is crying from all of the pain it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what it used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard, when I ran from room to room imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father, but he kept watching until the day that he died. And now I watch it and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I am in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for it to become good again. It will not punish me. I will rise again. I will be patient and wait for this to pass and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone.
Oh my god. What do you mean you ran around in the hallways?
I know.
With the young blood.
I know. So at this point, you can tell a couple of things. Can I just say the Generation Y podcast, they did such a great lengthy discussion of this. So we're going to link the podcast in the description. Please go listen to it because it's a really good, interesting one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the first point that they made is the watcher knows that the family hasn't moved in yet. How he's saying like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. When are you going to bring me the young blood? So this creep has been watching them.
Yeah, for a while.
And
watching their every single move.
Exactly. The writer is talking about how they used to roam the halls back in the 60s. One of the hosts on Gen Y was saying that if that was him receiving the letters, he would have gone through and did some investigative research to find out who lived in this house back in the 60s. And because it doesn't sound like this person as a child was an occupant there, how they were like, I used to roam the houses imagining what it would be like when the rich people lived here, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like they lived there, but you could find out who lived there. Did they have a housekeeper? Did the housekeeper have a child? Did the child that lived there have a friend that came over that was poor? You could go on with, you know, but they didn't do that, and I don't know why. And I'm not blaming them, it's just an observation, you know?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the couple is freaked out. They gather the 3 letters and they take it to the police. It seems like this person that's writing the letters wants control of this house, but they're not clear about what kind of control they want over the house, you know?
Yeah, they just keep mentioning the young blood.
Exactly. That's just what I was about to say, how at the end of the letter they say, it needs you, come back, let the young blood play again. What do you mean by that? Do you want ownership of the home? Do you just want to control the people that live there?
It sounds like whoever this person is, they're upset with the renovations and they're upset that they're moving in, but they don't seem to be upset with the fact that
kids are there.
Kids are there, yeah.
Whoever this is happy that there's young blood roaming the halls again, you know?
Right. Like, ew, that's so weird.
It just makes you think, what is the purpose for this? You just want to scare these people? Is this a game to you?
Yeah, and who the heck is this person?
Exactly. But yeah, so surprisingly, y'all, the police actually take this seriously.
Oh.
Yeah. They start interviewing people, they start working on forensics, like trying to see if there's any DNA that they can pick up from the letter. And they actually figure out that these letters are being processed in the USPS distribution center in Kearney, New Jersey, which is in northern New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they did make a good point. You can drive somewhere else and then drop a letter off, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's a lead.
Yeah.
You know? The first letter was delivered June 4th, 2014, before anything had been publicly stated about the cell. The Woods, the previous owners, they never put up a sign, a for sale sign, anything like that. So whoever this person is that's writing the letters had to be close enough to be watching them, seeing the interactions of the old family moving out and the new family coming in to see the house. But it was never like a for sale sign.
There are a few correlations that I have noticed. The Watchers, that's their last name. And then this person...
Wait, the Woods.
Oh, the Woods?
Yeah.
Oh, but then remember in the first letter, not the one that he sent to the Woods, but the one that he sent to the new people moving in, how he was like, I asked the Woods to bring me new blood.
Yeah, he was talking about the Woods, the couple.
Yeah. I thought he was talking about the literal Woods.
No, and I didn't correct you because I was like, because I didn't want to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, but it was the Woods as in the couple.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I like where your head is going. I like that the wheels are turning and you are on top of this.
Thank
and
you.
It makes me feel seen and heard. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You are.
Thank you.
And your hair looks so cute.
Thank you. And I dyed my hair last night.
Yeah, look at it. It's so vibrant and beautiful.
Thank you. I did it myself.
Stunning.
Thank you.
You did it yourself.
Yeah, I did it myself. Yeah, so the man of the hour, the guy in charge of all of this, his name is Detective Lugo. And he goes over to the house and Derek and Maria show him all around each room and everything. And they show him all the letters. And at this point, he's he's trying to make sense of this. And he's walking around inside and outside. Hang on, I'm gonna do my lip real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, he's walking around the outside of the house, and the easel was still sitting there, the one that the Broaddus's daughter had been painting on, that the Watcher referenced. And he noticed that if you were on the street of the house, you wouldn't be able to see the easel. So you'd either have to be standing on the side of the house or behind the house to be able to see the easel. But head on, you would not be able to see it. So it kind of gave them a clue as to where this freak sat and watched the little girl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Imagine being a parent and just knowing that there's a potential predator watching your kids.
I know. I don't even know what I would do. But yeah, Detective Lugo comes over. He realizes that. And at that point, the police tell Derek and Maria, don't talk about this to anybody. Don't tell your neighbors what's going on or anything like that. Because we don't know who it is. So you maybe would think, oh, you know, it's harmless that I'm talking to so-and-so about this. And that could be the Watcher.
Yeah,
you know?
literally.
And you don't want them to know that you're working with the police.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense to me. And I don't think they should be discussing it with anybody. And at the same time, if somebody is watching your house and a police car is coming over, they're going to know you're talking to the cops already.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
like they know. But I do agree with the idea of like not going around and
telling everybody everything.
yeah, exactly. During this whole thing, Andrea Woods, the previous owner of the house, is staying in contact with Maria via email, and she had a theory about this. She said, quote, with the mention of the contractor trucks and the children, it suggests that it was someone in the neighborhood. And I would agree with that. So Derek had been talking to a neighbor named John Schmidt, who told him about the neighbors next door, the Langfords. And the Langfords, so it was Peggy. Peggy was 90, and some of her children lived with her. They were adult children. And one of them, his name was, we'll call him Alan. And he didn't work. And Schmidt said that he was kind of like a Boo Radley character, which is referencing To Kill a Mockingbird. The reference would make him kind of this like slow, misunderstood character. In his mind, Schmidt said that it wouldn't make sense that it was him writing the letters because he was a little bit developmentally disabled, and so it wouldn't make sense that he would be the one writing these like eloquent letters, you know?
Yeah. Oh.
And the reason I didn't use Alan's real name is because the police and just like the media and stuff, like they harassed this family relentlessly, and time again, Alan was cleared. And yeah, and so I feel like that's unfair to put his name out like that, you know?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But because of this conversation, they start to consider the Langfords as suspects. And one of the first things that Detective Lugo starts to investigate, the Broaddus's daughter's art easel, and he realizes that the easel is visible from the Langford residence. Yeah. Richard Langford, Peggy's husband, passed away in 2002. So 12 years ago. And these letters keep referencing doing the job for the better part of 2 decades.
Yeah, and in one of the letters it literally mentioned that Dad passed away at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So it could be.
Yeah. So since it was 2014, it would only have been 12 years, but I see it.
Yeah.
There might have been other neighbors in the neighborhood with a similar background of having like a dad that died a little bit better part of 2 decades ago or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And then there was a house directly behind 657 Boulevard with a porch in the backyard, and the neighbors would always sit out there with the chairs facing away from their house towards the Broaddus's. And a painter that was working on the remodeling at 657 mentioned that he saw them sitting outside facing the house. And I feel like when you say it like that, you're like, ooh. But who sits in their backyard facing their house? I certainly don't. My chairs face the backyard and the greenery because I don't want to stare at my house when I'm sitting outside.
That's true.
Yeah. Like towards the other side. So it's like,
that's a good point.
Yeah. So there's that. So some people think it's kind of sketch, but I think it's pretty common for you to just sit like that. So yeah, Maria and Derek call the police again and talk to Detective Lugo, and he sits down with them and he tells them that he had actually brought in Alan for questioning a week after the first letter arrived. So this guy was on top of it. He was trying to be proactive, and normally cops aren't like this with stalker cases, so that's nice.
Right. We appreciate that.
He was taking DNA evidence. He really was doing his best to try to figure out who this was, you know.
That's good. Because what, like, a stressful situation, and then just like you said, for a lot of stalker cases, cops won't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I've just heard so many horror stories about stalker cases specifically where people are screaming for help. and they can't get help.
Yeah,
So-
really though. Yeah, so Alan denied having anything to do with the letters or even knowing about them. According to Detective Lugo, Alan did say some things that matched up with the letters, but that certainly wasn't enough to convict someone of it, and definitely there was no evidence, so there wasn't anything that the police could do.
Yeah.
And this upset Derek and Maria. Hang on, I'm gonna get a little sippy.
Okay.
But yeah, this upset Derek and Maria because they felt like something should be done. And I can understand that. I just can't imagine being in their shoes, so I understand why that upset them and why they felt like they wanted something to be done.
Yeah,
you know?
it's so stressful
Yeah.
having kids and like not getting answers.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, the Broadduses are like, you know what, we're gonna take this into our own hands, and they start their own investigation.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. So they set up cameras around the property, and they're hoping to be able to catch something. Derek wants to just have them on all the time, you know?
Yeah.
See if anything is picked up. And he also starts to keep track of a lot of things. He keeps track of like what people's sight lines are, what they can see, who moves in, who would be close enough to potentially to hear things happening in the house, stuff like that. And so he just wants to get as much information as possible, which really sucks because it's like he bought it just before his 40th birthday. This is supposed to be like a dream project where he's gonna make all of these cute memories with his kids.
Yeah.
He should be spending time with his kids, but instead he's stressed out about somebody watching them, you know? So like that really sucks.
That sucks so bad, and it was supposed to be a cute present.
Yeah, exactly.
Aw, that's horrible.
At this point, they decide to hire a private investigator, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah.
I love PIs.
I know,
Can I
me
just
too.
say?
I want to meet one.
I want to meet one.
I want to be, it's like spend the day, you know, take your kid
Yeah.
to work, they let me be the kid,
Yeah.
you know?
Even if it's not some, I don't know, super intense story that they're working on.
Yeah.
It would just be fun to do it right along, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
If you guys know a PI,
Or if you are a PI, my phone number is
it will be
linked
linked below.
in the show notes.
Yeah.
I love this. I love the bright blue.
Oh, thank
that looks
you.
badass.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, he goes into a deep dive search, and the first place that the PI looks at is the Langfords.
Oh, okay.
And he doesn't find anything.
Okay.
But he does, however, find 2 sex offenders within 2 blocks of the house.
Oh, no.
Yeah. At this point, one of the Gen Y hosts is like, if you haven't already, you should go on the sex offender registry and just look up your house. And so I did. It was creepy. And I think that you should too, just to know if you have kids or just in general to keep yourself and keep the community safe. I think you need to be aware of who lives in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so nothing comes out of the PI because he finds zero connection from the Langfords to them. And the next step that they take is they actually hire a former FBI agent who creates a profile and a threat assessment. And this guy came up with some interesting theories about the Watcher. The first theory is that the Watcher is an older writer because the writer leaves double spaces between sentences, and the vocabulary and the grammar in it implies a higher level of intelligence.
Oh, wow.
The Watcher also doesn't swear, and according to the former FBI agent, that's considered less macho or more feminine.
What?
So I don't know about that, because I swear like a sailor, and I am very feminine.
Yeah.
I don't know. The third theory that this FBI dude came up with, he believes that the Watcher was inspired by a movie called The Watcher, starring Keanu Reeves.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he plays a serial killer who stalks detectives.
What? Keanu does? Oh my gosh. I love that man.
I know you do.
If you don't know much about me, that's all you need to know.
And that's interesting to me, but what's the motive? What would be the motive? And it's not like the Watcher is harassing the cops. They're harassing a family.
Yeah.
You know?
Just for fun, just to copy a movie to
Yeah.
make you feel cool and badass.
Yeah, I just
For
don't
5 minutes?
understand what the motive would be in general, but also if that's what inspired the Watcher, I just don't understand why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the former FBI agent, Robert Flanagan, he comes up with his own theory. He thinks the Watcher is all talk and that they're a former housekeeper or a child of a former housekeeper who is doing this out of jealousy. And that would actually explain why they talk like they have a sense of ownership over the house. And that would also explain why they weren't able to afford it.
Yeah.
And it supports that the Watcher is somebody that's jealous because they mention how greedy the Broadduses are. Why are they greedy? Because they bought a house that you couldn't afford, you know?
Yeah.
They're greedy because they want to give their children a good life.
Because they have kids that you want to watch.
Yeah, I just don't understand. But yeah, despite all of this, Derek and Maria, mostly Derek, he still suspects the Langfords are behind this. So the police, they want to help the couple however they can, so they actually write a letter announcing plans to tear down the house. And they send it to the neighbors surrounding the area.
Oh my gosh.
Which I think is really smart.
Yeah.
Their reasoning is that if the watcher finds out about this, that should be enough to get them to write another letter. And that would mean that they could get the suspect pool.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It would get smaller, the suspect's sample.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also the cameras and stuff might pick him up.
Exactly. But nothing happens.
Dang it.
Yeah, they don't get any letters.
Ah.
Yeah. So Detective Lugo decides to question Alan again. And at this point, Alan's sister is upset. And she accuses the police department of harassment because she felt like the police was targeting her family with no real reason and certainly no evidence. And I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like it just feels really unfortunate because here's a couple that's being harassed and tormented, and that really sucks. And then this idea is like, oh, you know, maybe it's the Langfords, and then suddenly it's the Langfords. What basis do you have for thinking that and railing them so hard, you know?
Yeah. I feel like this happens time and time again where police, they will run into dead end after dead end, and whatever is closest to what they think could be the suspect or whatever, they just go with that.
Yeah.
Because they're
making
like,
a murderer. Like, there's, you know.
There's so many stories like that.
Exactly.
Our last video, Pamela Smart.
Exactly.
I mean,
you should go watch that.
There's no way to know for sure with that one, but... Yeah.
So that happens. And Detective Lugo tells Derek and Maria after that he really doesn't think that they'll get another letter from the Watcher if it is the Langfords because of how much heat they're getting.
Yeah.
And at this point, the Broadduses are being accused of harassment by the Langfords, which I totally understand. It doesn't seem to affect the way that the Broadduses go about things, though, because even with the PI, the FBI agent, the police interviewing them, after that they hire an attorney, Lee Levitt, who meets with the Langfords and their attorney. And the Broadduses' attorney tells the Langfords, we have all of this information, you have direct sight of the easel, since you live this close to them, you can overhear things said at the Broadduses' house if you open your window. We feel like you're the obvious suspect behind this. Like, kind of aggy and intense, I would say.
Like, just accusing them.
Just accusing them because they live next door. Come on, people. And this just infuriates the Langfords even more. And they continue to defend Alan. They're like, no, this isn't him. I'm sorry. But it's not. It's just sad.
That's frustrating.
It's frustrating and it's sad. You want answers, I get it. But you can't just blame the first people that come up in your head, you know?
With no proof.
Yeah. And it sucks because it's like, if the Langfords are behind this, great, grill them, you know? But if they're not, they're just going through all of this stress, and for what? For living next door to someone?
For real.
You know?
And Alan, he's sitting here, probably frustrated.
Yeah, that sucks for him. Somebody just decided one day that he's a bad guy, and now everybody... And it's not just the Broadduses, it's everybody else in the neighborhood that's like, are you being a creep to these new neighbors, you know? That really sucks. So that happens. They canvassed the area, they interviewed people, they tested the DNA, they got a PI, the FBI agent and attorney, they announced they were tearing down the house. But by the end of 2014, nothing comes out of it still. All this effort and nothing to show. And at this point, the Broadduses have to decide, do they want to take their chance and move in, or do they give up this dream home that they've been working so hard on? They had even installed an alarm system and cameras, but they ended up not moving in. They became obsessed with the Watcher, and how could you not when somebody is threatening your children?
I completely understand.
It just sucks because it's like the house before this one, it was nice, but it wasn't like this one.
Yeah.
And now they're
$1.3 million
$1.3 million.
Like,
plus $100,000 in renovations.
And now they can't even move in because they're too scared for their kids.
It's just sad.
I do find it interesting. I'm not going to say that Alan is guilty because I have no context, but I do think it's interesting that once he started getting accused, the letters stopped coming. Maybe it was not Alan. Maybe it was. Maybe the Watcher stopped because they wanted people to think that it was Alan. I don't know. Creepy.
Very creepy. It's just a crappy situation. Maria even ended up getting diagnosed with PTSD because of all the stress. And I want you to tell me, Celeste, what you think about this. But at this point, they decide to file a lawsuit against the previous owners, the Woods. Their reasoning was that the Woods got a letter days before moving out from the Watcher, and they didn't tell the Broadduses beforehand, therefore making the Woods responsible for their situation. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's on the Woods.
I feel the same way.
I don't think so. Because I understand being frustrated and needing answers and stuff. I guess it's also hard to say because of all the stress that they went through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I would react, but I certainly don't think I would blame it on the woods. That's almost reaching, I think.
I think it's super reaching, especially because Andrea was so nice.
Yeah.
And the next day she wrote back to them. She's keeping in contact with them. She's like, how can I help you?
She's trying to be helpful,
yeah.
right?
And it's not like the letter was like, hey, I'm a creep. It was more just like, thanks for taking care of the house, man. See ya.
Yeah.
Why would you tell someone that?
What happened with that?
You'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. So at this point, the story is going viral, but it's also fueling speculation. Reporters are wanting to report on it. People are wanting to do podcasts on it. And the public starts wondering, did Derek and Maria set this up for some kind of publicity stunt? And at first, I can see this. At first, I'm like, okay. But there's no way that they could have ensured that they went viral with any of this,
Yeah, that's true.
They spent so much on this house. Their previous house wasn't anywhere nearly as fancy. I don't know, it just didn't seem like that to me because they actually got a lot of people wanted to do movies about it. Like they got like offers and they denied every single one of them.
Oh.
Every single one of them. And they wouldn't even talk to people about this. Like if people brought it up, they wouldn't even talk to them about this. So I genuinely don't think that this was a publicity stunt.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, eventually, with how much publicity the story was getting, they eventually had to tell their children about the watcher.
Oh,
And I can't imagine your parents sit you down one day and they're like, oh, hey, this guy has been watching us. They've been watching you paint on the front porch.
Oh.
That sucks.
Yeah, and imagine learning that as a child.
That would mess you up, man.
You're already scared of monsters under the bed.
Kids don't have to be worried about that.
Yeah, kids shouldn't have to be worried about that.
Exactly. But yeah, so that happens. Shortly after all of this happened, there was a meeting at the town hall, in the local town hall, on June 24th, 2015. And the mayor was there, and he was assuring the public that the police had done an exhausting investigation and that everything was fine. There was nothing to worry about. But the people, they weren't buying it. They were like, what is so fine about this? You haven't found who is behind this. There's no peace.
Yeah, and there's still other kids in the neighborhood.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what is the best way to respond to a stalker case, especially someone that's like a physical stalker, not like an online stalker.
Yeah.
Would it have been better if they just ignored the letters? But how do you ignore the letters that are threatening your children? I just don't understand how you could do that. There's a couple of theories. So one of Alan's brother, or maybe just one brother, he had schizophrenia. And Alan told the cops that his brother did do weird things. Like he'd be outside walking through neighbors' yards or looking in their windows.
Oh.
But it was completely harmless. He was just curious. He just had a lot going on. He had schizophrenia, but he never hurt anybody. Like he wouldn't hurt a fly. He was just kind of a peculiar guy.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I don't want you to misconstrue that. Like vilifying mental illness kind of thing.
Right.
And then there was a neighbor, that same neighbor, Michael Schmidt. He said that Alan would pick up a newspaper for him every morning. He was like, I know there's a lot going on that's being said about Alan and everything, but I really don't think that he would be capable of writing letters like that eloquent and stuff like that. And then remember that they were testing the DNA on the envelopes?
Yeah.
It turns out to be female.
Oh my gosh, what if it's Alan's sister?
It's like we share the same brain, honestly, because at that point they suspected Abby Langford, who was a local real estate agent, and they were like, maybe she's upset because she didn't get to sell the house, so she didn't get in on that commish. This is getting so out of hand. This is so wild. But a detective gets one of the security guards from where Abby works. He gets the security guard to steal her water bottle so that they can test the DNA and match it up, and it didn't match up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is wild.
I know.
The length that they are willing to go
I know, dude. And at this point, Derek and Maria are upset by this, even with all the evidence. And I understand. But Derek and Maria are still upset, and they still think that the Langfords are behind this, even after all this evidence pointing to not that.
I get it. And it's also like, come on, guys.
I know. It's like, come on, girls. And so they go to the prosecutor and they're like, we want you to arrest the Langfords.
What?
And the prosecutor is like, there's no evidence, so we cannot do that. Which I agree with. How are you going to just
arrest someone who's potentially not guilty.
Yeah. So part of the Broaddus's investigation was to show their neighbors a handwriting sample from the watcher. And keep in mind, just the front of the envelope was written. The actual letters were typed on a typewriter.
Yeah.
And so they ended up hiring a firm with a forensic linguist who could analyze these handwriting samples. They had an idea that the person who was writing these letters could give themselves away by the way that they worded things.
That's true. I love stuff like that.
I know, me too. It's so smart. But nothing comes out of that.
Dang it.
I know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, now you can see it, huh?
It matches your hair. Oh, that looks so good.
Thank you.
I love it.
Oh my god, thank you. But yeah, after that doesn't work out, Derek wants to hire a hacker to break into people's Wi-Fi to see if he can break into their computers to see if there's any incriminating evidence.
Derek.
I know, I'm like, Derek, please. He ends up not going through with it, but it just shows you the desperation that was going on in his head. And again, I get it, because that's your child, man. Somebody's watching your freaking kid paint, you know?
Yeah.
I get it. So yeah, at this point, the police ask Andrea Woods for a DNA sample, and they also talk to her 21-year-old son, and they're both compliant. It's like, even after the Broadduses try to freaking sue them, the Woods are like, you know what? I get it, man. I'll help you. I'll do what I can.
Wow.
And so I thought that was pretty big of them. Supposedly, there was a fourth letter that was delivered to 637, not 657. And the family that lived there took a picture of the front of it and then threw it away. And one of the kids that lived there posted about the letter on Facebook. And I'm just like, what? Why wouldn't you at least open it, take a picture, then burn it, you know? Why would you just throw it away? I just don't understand why you would do that.
What the heck? Unless they just faked it.
Yeah, that's true. Unless they were lying about it.
And they were just trying to get in on the, like...
On the pizzazz.
The hubbub.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's so annoying.
I know, that's so annoying. And Maria claimed that the police had given her a name of a suspect, but that because they didn't have any evidence, they couldn't go through with arresting the person. And it's hard to say if she was trying to just make it seem like the investigation was going somewhere, like something was actually being done. But when the police was asked about it, they said that they never gave her the name of a potential suspect. It's not like the police are the most honest people in the world.
That's true.
So there's no way to know who's lying here, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And one of the detectives one night was sitting outside of the house in a van when around 11 p.m. a car stopped in front of the house, and they traced this to a woman who lived in a nearby town. And so they decided to go visit her, and they were like, hey man, why were you sitting outside of this house? They were trying to figure out like what was going on, you know?
And it's a lady.
Yeah, and it's a lady, exactly.
Huh.
And she was like, oh yeah, it's because my boyfriend plays a game and he plays as the watcher, and so he wanted to go check out the house and just kind of get a feel for it, since that's the character he plays. That's what she told them. Yeah. And so they were like, okay, well, we obviously need more information about this. And so she was like, okay, yeah, he'll come in for an interview. But he never did. The guy never came in for an interview, and nothing came out of that. I don't know why they didn't, or maybe they did go back and look for the boyfriend, but I couldn't find any information on that lead.
Heck?
Yeah. Which makes me think that it very well could have been him, but also maybe not, because they lived in like a town away, and it sounds like this person lived a little closer. But definitely still sketch, and definitely if I was a cop, I would have gone and investigated that more, you know?
Yeah, that's so weird. That is oddly specific.
I know. What video game?
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe she just lied about that to cover her own butt, because she was the watcher, you know?
You're so smart.
Because she's a lady.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be like, oh, she's a lady. It's probably her, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. I don't understand at all. But yeah, at this point, people are... Okay, and they're getting a lot more media attention and, you know, da-da-da-da. And so people are speculating, is Derek and Maria behind all of this? Like, is this just some cute little publicity stunt? Lifetime ends up coming out with a movie about them called The Watcher. And the Broadduses actually send them a cease and desist letter to try and stop them from releasing it. Yeah. What? So to me, it really doesn't sound like they were behind it to me.
Oh, it was like a movie about the actual events. It wasn't like trying to say that they were like faking it or anything.
No. It was like a movie that came out about them, and they were like, don't put that out. And they were like, we're gonna.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. They didn't want a movie deal. You know, they didn't want any of this. They just wanted this to stop. They just wanted to be okay, you know?
Yeah.
But at this point, the Broadduses decide to find another home, which really sucks because they really loved this house. They put in a lot of effort and a lot of love and, you know?
Yeah.
So that sucks. They went kind of broke with all the renovations and everything, so they actually had to borrow money from family.
Oh.
And they ended up getting an LLC to keep the location of their new home private.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. They also disclosed the whole situation to any potential new buyers, which I think is really telling because it's like if they were behind this, why would they be warning other people about it?
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And if it was for fame, why would they have to end up borrowing money from family to just be able to get another house? That genuinely doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's true.
So in 2016, they filed an application with the city to demolish the house, and the plan was to completely tear down the house and to build 2 separate homes in place of it.
Wow.
Yeah, their lot was just short of the required width to split it like that, so they had to go to the city planning board. And on January 5th, 2017, the people voted unanimously to reject the plan because the lot wasn't wide enough. I wrote, LOL, please. But they thought it wouldn't look right, that it would hurt the vibe of the neighborhood. And there were even people there from the neighborhood there to protest it, that they were like, we don't want you to cut it down.
What?
I don't understand that. Some creep is harassing a family watching their children, and you don't want them to tear it down because you're worried about the vibe? I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's like they were all freaking out at the mayor being like, yeah,
what are you doing?
And then,
Yeah.
That's so stupid. It's
I
like
know.
there's still children in the neighborhood. The creep could still be there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching your children or something.
Yeah, but after the meeting, Derek and Maria, they got notice that this person was like, I want to live in your house. I'm down to rent it. I think it was a couple, and they had like a big dog, and so they were like, I'm not afraid. And so they were like, can we just rent the house? But they did ask for a clause to be written into the contract that if they did get another letter, that they would be able to opt out of the contract, which I think is smart. And Derek and Maria were like, totally, man.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So on February 1st, 2017, the 657 Boulevard had new tenants.
Wow.
And 12 days later, on February 13th, a 4th letter arrives. Yeah.
What? I was not expecting another letter.
No, neither was I, genuinely. The tenants give the letter to Derek, and the letter is dated on the same day that the Broadduses gave their deposition for the lawsuit regarding the old owners.
Oh,
So that's a little creepy. And the renter was spooked but agreed to stay if the Broadduses installed surveillance around the house. And so they did. But why did you remove the surveillance in the first place? Like, I would have just left it, you know?
That's kind of weird, unless maybe Derek and Maria took it with them.
Oh, yeah, true. But yeah, so the letter reads, violent winds and bitter cold, to the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife, Maria. You wonder who the watcher is? Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me, one of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and you're too scared to tell anyone. Good move. I walked by the news trucks when they took over my neighborhood and mocked me. I watched as you watched from the dark house in an attempt to find me. Telescopes and binoculars are wonderful inventions. 657 Boulevard survived your attempted assault and stood strong with its army of supporters barricading its gates. My soldiers of the Boulevard followed my orders to a T. They carried out the mission and saved the soul of 657 Boulevard with my orders. All hail the Watcher. You are despised by the house, and the Watcher won. Maybe a car accident, maybe a fire, maybe something as simple as a mild illness that never seems to go away but makes you feel sick day after day after day after day. Maybe the mysterious death of a pet. Loved ones suddenly die. Planes and cars and bikes crash. Bones break.
Oh my God.
And so this prompted Derek to take this to the police, and it just made the police think even more that this watcher had to live within 300 feet of the house. And this was also the first letter that actually threatened with violence. And the part where the letter's like, you wonder who I am? Turn around, idiots. It's like, is the person mocking them because the watcher lives behind them and they've spent so much resources like looking everywhere else, you know?
Oh.
At this point, John and Andrea Woods, the previous owners, are still dealing with the lawsuits. And on October 18, 2017, a judge threw out the case. And they were like, there's no evidence saying that what Andrea and John did was wrong.
Yeah.
If for some reason I went through with this and allowed this, then it would make for future cases to I don't know.
Not be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, always a girl judge.
Oh, good for her. We love a girl judge.
We love a girl judge. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. And then on December 4th, 2017, several homes in the neighborhood received an envelope in their mailbox. And the letter was very similar to the one that the watcher had sent.
Oh.
And the letter accused these people of starting rumors about Derek and Maria. And the letters were all signed Friends of the Broaddus family. And
that last letter was extremely spiteful.
Extremely spiteful and creepy.
Yeah.
And so you'll never guess, or maybe you will guess this, but Derek actually admitted to writing these letters, this last set of letters that was sent out. And it was like a last-ditch effort to try to figure out who had been terrorizing his family.
Oh.
And he really felt like the neighbors didn't show up for him the way he would have liked. But it's like, on the other hand, here you
Derek,
were.
please.
Like, accusing the poor Langfords and accusing the Woods, you know? So it's like, how can people have your back if you're just accusing everybody that's just existing around you? Yeah.
Derek, he really needs to chill. Like,
I know.
understand.
Derek needs to chill.
It's just too much.
I agree.
Come on, man. He's just implicating himself.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Like, what if it was him the whole time?
Exactly. I don't think it was, but that's what he's making it seem like.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so they spent a lot of money on the home, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the home itself was originally bought for $1.3 million, right?
Right.
And so they listed the home in 2019 at $1.125 mil. So still way lower than what they initially had
bought it for.
Yeah. But on July 1st, they sold it for $959,000.
Whoa.
So they took a pretty big hit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big chunk.
Yeah, and it honestly wasn't just about the money. Like, they didn't just lose money, they lost time with their kids, you know? One of the kids, I think they were as young as 5, so it's like they lost so much precious time that they could have been hanging out with their kids by worrying about what this creep was gonna do next, you know?
Yeah, because they were so stressed out.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And that's not even the end of the whole shabacle. Netflix is actually planning on coming out with a series about this called The Title, or The Watcher. And it doesn't have a release date yet.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like, Netflix, please.
Please, can you wait at least a few months?
Or years. Wow. It just happened.
Yeah. Here we are making a video about it.
I know. Okay, I see the irony. But yeah. And in the Cut article, I also use the Cut article quite a bit, but the writer actually goes out and hangs out with Derek and Maria.
Oh.
And he's driving, and he drives past the house with Derek. And here's a direct quote from Derek.
Oh my gosh.
He says, "It's all beautiful trees and beautiful houses, but all I feel is anxious. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, what would my life be like if this didn't happen? We lost Christmas a couple times, and you don't get that back, Christmas with a 5-year-old. So, I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
That's so sad.
I know. The Broadduses obviously aren't being tormented anymore with creepy letters or anything like that, but they're still dealing with the aftermath and the lingering effects of the situation, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like the kids are occasionally teased at school, or at least they were in 2018 when the article was written, and the rumors still persist. They do try to avoid people in the neighborhood that spoke out against tearing the house down or accuse them of being con artists, but they do still live in the same town. So it's kind of impossible to not run into them, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That must be really hard.
Yeah. Derek says, "I see these people on the soccer field, at the train station, and my heart starts going like when it did when I played hockey and was about to get in a fight." Maria, I know. Well, I think it's just like anxious.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought he was like saying like he's about to
No. I think it's like, anxious.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then Maria, she was taking a spin class at the YMCA with the head of the planning board, and she went up afterward and told him, "You continue to hurt my family every day." Because earlier that year, the planning board approved splitting a lot just around the corner from 657 that required an even larger exception than what the Broadduses were asking for.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the prosecutor's office was continuing its investigation at the time. The article was written like in November 2018. But the Broadduses know that it's pretty unlikely that the Watcher would ever be caught, and that if they were, there probably wouldn't be any legal punishment, or it probably would be like minimal.
Dang.
Yeah. And so...
Because he's old? Or she's old, I guess I should say.
She, they. We don't know the gender. Because
Well,
it could have
the
just
DNA
been
test?
it could have just been like a woman that licked
Oh.
it, but what if they
yeah.
work together? I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
The Watcher had been obsessed with 657 Boulevard, and Derek in turn had become obsessed with the Watcher and everything the letters had set in motion. He said, "It's like cancer," he told Reeves. "We think about it every day." And that is the story of the Watcher house.
Oh, wow.
Is that not just the creepiest little story?
That is the creepiest story. You did such a good job.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm shocked. And a little disappointed that he never got caught.
I know, me
wanna
too. Me too, because it's like you get to just terrorize a family out of their dream home and then just go on with your merry life. That doesn't seem fair to me.
That'd be so wild if it actually was Derek and Maria. Probably not.
I just don't understand what they would gain. Being ostracized from the community, losing money, losing their dream house to move into a smaller house. They didn't accept any of the movie deals that were offered to them.
That's true. They didn't get anything out of it.
They didn't get anything except people thinking that they're liars. It's like, imagine going through all that trauma and then people being like, "Well, you're a liar."
Yeah,
You know?
that's
like,
true.
That would really suck. Well, I have to finish my makeup real quick, so we'll be back.
Start the fast forwarding, DJ.
Alrighty, we're back.
We're back. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this story. I know I did. That was an
I'm
amazing
glad.
story.
Thank you.
I mean, it wasn't amazing.
No.
But the way you told it was really good.
Thank you.
So creepy.
So
now
creepy.
I feel like we have a stalker.
No,
called the Watcher.
don't say that.
Okay.
Don't say that. Don't stalk us. I'm gonna be so mad.
I'm gonna be so
I'm gonna be
mad.
very upset with you. But if not,
We'll
I
stalk
love
you
you.
back.
No, don't stalk us.
Just
Alright.
kidding.
I'm not kidding. But I love you. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ooh.
Maybe leave a little comment.
Cheeky little comment.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Want to stop it at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. 1,
2,
3.